Hi, it's Sandy Wyllie. Welcome to my mental health channel where I wipe away the stigma of mental illness by talking about my own struggles having borderline personality disorder, my struggles with having post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety disorder and panic attacks, depression. I talk about schizophrenia, bipolar, narcissism. I talk about all my therapies that I've been in, DBT, CBT, psychodynamic, psychoanalytical, IFS. I also dive into the therapists who sexually, verbally, and physically abused me over the years, and a plethora of other mental health topics. But I only come on as a former patient of almost 20 years. I am not a licensed therapist. I cannot diagnose you or give you any professional advice. And all I ask in return of you is please be kind in the comments. Please be kind and respectful of me and other people who comment. We don't need to agree on everything, but we do need to show respect to one another. Now, if you're new to my channel, welcome. Hit that subscribe button, that little box that says subscribe there on the right, so you will be notified every time a video comes on. And if you like what you see, give it a thumbs up. And please, if you feel free to comment, I love and I appreciate everyone's comments, people who open up and share to me. I don't try to pressure anyone into commenting, but I will answer everyone's comment, and they will be well appreciated and received. Now, today I'm going to get into, people ask me, you know, even my husband doesn't understand why I stayed in therapy for almost 20 years with psychologists who sexually abused me, verbally abused me, emotionally abused me, physically abused me. Even my husband doesn't, quite understand why. And a lot of people just don't get it. So I wanted to do a video. Why? I have no friends. And to be honest with you, I use psychologists as a paid listener, as a friend. What does a friend do? A friend who's someone who listens because they care about you. A psychologist is someone who listens because they're paid to listen. Now, I don't have any friends. I know I said this before, but so I have no one to talk to. I have no one to call in a crisis. I've had several crises come up over the years, and you can look at my other videos. I don't want to get into what those crises were, but during those crises, I had no one to talk to. I had not one friend to call. No one. And although my husband is very good and kind, he's kind of like heard it all before, and he's, it's just, he doesn't, I feel like I'm talking to a wall when I'm talking to him, probably because he's heard the same thing over and again. He's used to the same story. It's like reading a book you've already read 2 or 3 times, and you get bored with it. It's not like he's trying to act disrespectful, which he isn't. It's just that, I run into the same brick wall over and over again, and he kind of seems like unfazed. He's just kind of like, I'm not trying to put him down, and this is not the extent of why I'm doing this video. Why I'm doing the video is to try to explain why I stayed in relationships with therapists who sexually abused me. I just needed someone to listen to me, someone to care about me. And these people's jobs are to listen, and act like they care. Because that's what they're paid for. And they're paid pretty good money. The mental health care system now is just out of control. People cannot afford it to even have professionals listen to them, because most psychologists now don't take insurance. Most psychologists now, you have to pay cash or check. You have to give them a check, and they're not cheap, you know. They're like $300 for 50 minutes. Most of them fall in the category of $200 to $300 for 50 minutes. Some even over 300, some 350. You're not going to get many psychologists these days that are going to be paid less than $200, unless they're brand new, you know, right out of school. Maybe, you know, someone very young, like someone young enough to they could be my child. I don't want a psychologist young enough to be my child, that I could be their mother, because they have no life experience. Book experience is one thing, life experience is totally another thing, and you can't have life experience when you're that young. You have to live in order to have life experience. So, at least that's my opinion. You might have a different opinion, and I will respect that opinion. So these psychologists used to take insurances. That means they'd have to chase down the insurance companies to get reimbursed for the session. You'd have a copay, but your copay would be very small, maybe $10, $15, $20 for a copay, and then you submit the insurance to the psychologist, and they chase down the insurance companies to pay the rest of the money. Now, psychologists have gotten sick of chasing insurance companies, so they don't take insurance anymore. What they do is they let you, the patient, chase down the insurance companies. They just take a check. My session is what, $250, $300, $350, whatever. You write me a check. And then you, the patient, has to do all the legwork, chasing down the insurance companies to be reimbursed for the session. And the insurance companies don't reimburse very well. I don't know what they do. I don't know how much they reimburse. But you end up paying a lot of money out of your own pocket. And nowadays, people just can't afford that kind of, you know, money. They can't afford it, you know. It's like a luxury. Therapy has become like a luxury only for the rich. I'm just speaking truth. And I've looked up my former psychologist, because I haven't been in therapy in 3 years. My former psychologists all now do not take insurance. They'll say right on their profile. If you look on their profiles, they'll say that they do not take insurance. So that means you have to pay out of your pocket. And what do they do, really? What have they done for me? They've destroyed my life. I'm not going to go into that segment of this video, because I have all the other videos telling you specifically in great graphic detail in my videos and in my books how they destroyed my life by, you know, raping me, you know, pushing me around, you know, etc., etc. I'm not going to get into it in this video. They have destroyed my life. So A, I didn't get the help I needed. B, they re-traumatized me. So I never got help from my past, and they gave me new problems. They re-traumatized me. And for what? You know, because I didn't have any friends. And when I did have friends, I was the one who always listened to them. When I used to have friends, I didn't, you know, they were the ones who always called me when I was working. Didn't matter, you know, when I was with my family, when I was exhausted at night, sleeping in bed, it didn't matter. They always called me, and I listened to them. I could never pick up the phone and call them. Never. It was always one-sided. So I got fed up with that, and I said, you know what? I'd rather just have no friends than be used and abused by people. So even when I did have friends, it just, I didn't have anyone that would listen to me. That's why I stayed so long in very bad therapies that abused me. And I think that, therapists, feed on vulnerable patients. They prey on them, They prey on them. They know that, hey, this patient needs me because they're very lonely. They have no one reliable and dependable in their life. No one else is going to listen to them. It's only, it's like going to a prostitute. A guy will say, I don't get any sex. No one else wants me. I have to pay for sex in order to get laid. A lot of times it's like that, A guy, otherwise why would he pay for sex if he was getting sex? It doesn't, you see what I'm saying? A man would not pay for sex. He's paying for sex because he's not getting sex. I'm paying for a friend because I don't have any friends that would listen to me, that care about me. Like, I'm a big loser, And if you want me to be authentic with you, then I am. I'm coming on my channel and I'm telling you that I'm a big loser. What else? What could be more authentic than that? It's not something that everyone does or owns up to, but it's the truth. If I guess people liked me more, if I was more likable, or people, I don't know, would want to be my friend, or would care enough to listen to me. But since people, are wrapped up in their own lives, wrapped up in what's going on with them, wrapped up in their own little cocoons, their own little world, if you're not going to do anything for them, they don't want nothing to do with you. See, it's all, what can they get from you? This is how people are out there. I'm 59. I've been around the block a few times, okay? It's what can they get from you? What could they get? And if they can't get anything from you, adios. They don't want nothing to do with you. I was never like that, I never took advantage of people. I was always there to listen to people's problems. I never, I never had that mentality like, what can I get from her? Never, But this is their mentality. What if they can't get anything from you, then they don't want nothing to do with you, They use you so bad, like if they can't go swimming in your pool in the summer, or they can't get a ride when they need a ride, or they can't bend your ear with all their problems, or, you can't babysit their children, or, you fill in the blank. What do they need from you? And if you're not right there to fill those needs, then there's no point being friends with you. Gone are the days where people just friends with someone because they like them. I like you, You're a good person. I want your company, I want to spend my time with you, not what I can get from you. And that's what it's all been about. It's the me generation of how much I can squeeze out of that sponge, every last friggin' drop. And this is the reason that I stayed so long when the therapist was, mauling me in my sessions, mauling me. Okay? Then that led to sex with my therapist. And I could have said no, okay? I took ownership. I have taken ownership in other videos, and I take ownership of that now. I could have said no, but I just felt so miserable, so intensely lonely. Have you ever done something that you're not proud of, that you deeply regret because you were so lonely? You were so... I think a lot of people join cults because they're so lonely. Because in a cult, you're part of a group. Pretty bad group that try to manipulate you and do things. A lot of cults they do horrific things, horrible, horrible things. But people are so lonely and desperate and insecure and have no one else. They have no family or friends. They have no one. So the cults becomes the family. And because it's so powerful, and these people's minds are so weak, and they're so desperate and so lonely for some human companionship, that they fall prey to these, like David Koresh, is that his last name? I'm probably not saying it right. Like that group where the guy made everyone drink the Kool-Aid and killed themselves. You know what I'm talking about. I can't think of, like I said, I'm not scripted, so I don't have a script in saying, oh yeah, who was this person, but you know what I'm talking about. These people took their own lives because it was so desperate. So was it so bad that I gave my body and my heart, because I was so lonely, I had no one to talk to. I'm glad that I've gotten stronger and I could walk away from the abuse. Not only walk away from the abuse, but report it to the authorities, and now stay on my own, alone in the world. Not ever, in 3 years that way. Not ever turning to those people again, because they manipulated me and they sexually abused me. And I stayed for so long because I was so desperate and so lonely. It was like being in a cult. So at the risk of repeating myself, like someone said, I repeat myself too much, I will stop here. But that is the real reason that I stayed so long in therapy and let these psychologists severely abuse me.